Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the entire team, I want to welcome you to the first edition of the New World Summit. My name is Jonas Staal, I'm a visual artist, and as the initiator, I'm responsible for this conference. And before we start, I will briefly introduce the intentions of the New World Summit and its program. The essence of our presence here in this alternative parliament today is to listen to 7 different speakers, 7 political and juridical representatives of organizations that are currently included in so-called terrorist lists. The terrorist lists include organizations that are internationally considered to be state threats. In the European Union, a secret committee, the so-called clearinghouse, draws up the terrorist lists. The clearinghouse meets biannually in secret, and there are no public proceedings of the way decisions are made for the listing of the political organizations. One could rightfully say that by its own standards, the committee that is in charge of placing organizations outside of democracy is itself organized in a fundamentally undemocratic manner. The consequences for the listed organizations and people who are in contact with them include a block on all bank accounts and an international travel ban. And this, of course, raises the first question: how is it possible that our speakers today could be present at all? Regarding the juridical representatives, the lawyers of imprisoned members of these organizations, this seems obvious. They represent the legal rights of the person in question, not their ideological motives. Regarding the political representatives present here today, different exceptions apply. Some of the representatives have previously been imprisoned for their political views. Some are likely to be listed, but not yet. And others have been able to enter processes of negotiation leading to possibly peaceful solutions for former armed conflicts. They are part of listed organizations, but navigate within a juridical gray zone that we call diplomacy. It is within this gray zone that we have designed the alternative parliament of the New World Summit, a space in which we explore a highly paradoxical condition, namely the boundaries of democracy. It's paradoxical as the promise of the system that calls itself democratic is to represent all voices at all times. Following this reasoning, democracy is ideally the manifestation of the will of the people as a whole. But the strife for democracy is not free of external influences. Often, it's not so much the ideological arguments as the geopolitical and economic interests that define who will become a political ally in democracy and who will not. This explains how political figures are introduced to us on the world stage as democratically elected leaders of the people on one day and as dictators on the next. I will now give the floor to the curator of this project, former UN diplomat Robert Kluiver, who will be your chairman today and who will introduce our speakers and the present program.